Starring John Gordon Sinclair as Dr. Finlay. The day Dandini came to town.
You see, the trouble with Finlay was he didn't socialise enough with Leavenford folk. So when the pantomime came to town, it seemed the perfect opportunity for him to mix a bit more.
Did you see the advertisement, Doctor?
And what advertisement's that, Janet?
Of course, if I'd any idea of the anguish it would cause Finlay, I wouldn't have let Janet bully him into going.
There, look. Cinderella. It's coming to the Borough Hall for Hogmanay.
I didn't think that pantomime was the sort of thing that you'd enjoy.
Why ever not?
I don't know.
I've as much of a sense of humour as the next person.
We have to find our entertainment where we can here, Finlay, however rough and ready. You should go along and see it.
Will you be going then, Dr. Cameron?
I will not. I can't stand the things.
Wake up, Letty. We're here.
I am awake, darling, unfortunately. Where is it we are?
Leavenford.
And is that where we're supposed to be?
Of course.
A miracle.
Harold only put us on the wrong train once. Be fair, Letty.
I don't feel fair, darling. I feel old and tired, and I wish to God this tour was over.
Oh, go on, Letty. Cheer up. What is it you always say? Another dump, another dollar.
Do I always say that? Then perhaps I deserve everything Leavenford is about to throw at me. Get my suitcase down, would you, darling? And we'll bravely sally forth.
Finlay, old man!
Oh, no. Evening, doggy.
How are you, Finlay? You know my friend Jackson, don't you?
I do.
Doctor? No doubt treated him for all sorts of unmentionable diseases.
No, doggy.
Only joking, old man.
How's the world of journalism?
Oh, you know Leavenford. All funerals and flower shows.
Brandy and splash for you, Finlay?
I'm fine, thanks.
As you wish. Won't stop us. Jackson, get us 2 more, would you? Here's a good chap. Here's a quid.
Oh, right. Right you are.
Well, Finlay, what do you think of all this excitement?
Excitement?
The panto.
That?
You're going, aren't you?
I am not.
But you must.
Don't think so.
I know what you mean. It's hardly sophisticated enough for the likes of you and me. But I've a friend who saw it in Paisley, says it's a scream. Says you can't tell Cinderella from the Ugly Sisters, and Dandini has to be seen to be believed. I'm going tonight. Come along. There's plenty of tickets left.
I won't, thank you, doggy.
Something more alluring waiting for you?
Evening surgery.
Quite right. You don't have to tell me.
I am telling you, it's evening surgery.
Of course it is, Finlay. Of course it is.
Why is the man called Doggy? Stupid nickname.
He sees himself as a bit of a dog, a young blood about town.
Young blood? Pasty-faced boy, more like. If he slaps me in the back and calls me old man once more, I won't be responsible.
That's not bad in Doggy, really. He likes people to think he's a devil of a ladies' man, dangerous to know. But he's harmless enough, isn't he, Janet?
Doggy Lindsay suffers from a rich father and a doting mother and too much time in his hands. There's nothing wrong with him that an honest day's work wouldn't cure.
What's he done to put your back up, Finlay?
He was going on about this pantomime. Trying to make out I'm some crotchety old stick in the mud because I won't go.
Well...
Yes, Janet?
Nothing at all, Doctor.
Now go on, what were you going to say?
Just that sometimes you can have too much of sitting at home with your books.
And my pipe and my slippers.
I didn't say that, Doctor.
I can enjoy myself as much as the next man.
I'm sure you can, Doctor. Each to his own. Well, I must be off if I'm to get to the hall in time. The curtain goes up in half an hour. You've a cold supper laid out in the dining room. I won't be back till late.
Janet thinks I'm dull, doesn't she?
Aye, man, she does. Thank you, boys and girls. Hello, Cinders.
Oh, hello, Buttons.
I was coming to find you.
Were you?
Yes.
What's the house
Everyone
like?
is so excited.
You mean almost half empty? We must have got it from Greenock.
Those early days, it'll fill up as the week goes on.
Any sign of fruit or vegetables?
Let it get on, that's your cue.
Oh, God!
And that means you'll be invited too.
Hello, friends.
Hello, Dandini.
I couldn't hear that. Hello, friends.
Hello, Dandini.
Who is this?
Oh, don't mind her. She's only a servant.
Oh, no, she isn't.
Oh, yes, she is.
No, she isn't. Is she, boys and girls?
It's Cinderella, the Baron's youngest daughter.
Oh, Jackson, can you believe it? Look at that wall rattle.
Oh, it's going to fall on Prince Charming any minute.
If he, sorry she, doesn't die of old age first.
Here is...
Go on, Cinders! You'll be better off with the broker's men.
Cinderella?
And Dandini, can you believe Dandini?
Mr. Lindsay, I'd ask you to keep your voice down, please.
Search is over.
Hello there, Miss Macpherson. Is Finlay with you?
He is not.
You must tell him what he's missing. Isn't it a hoot?
I don't think I'd call it that.
Best thing since Bailey Nichols' wig fell into the font at Jimmy Ross's christening.
That was a long time ago and best forgotten.
Jackson, pass me the programme. I must see who plays Dandini.
will be girls, you know.
Finlay! Hey, Finlay, slow down, old man.
Hello, doggy.
Have you seen it yet?
Seen what?
The panto.
No. Was it any good?
Good. My God, it's awful. It's rotten. It's terrible. It's tripe. For all that, Finlay, old man, it's a scream. Have you seen Dandini?
I tell you, I haven't been near the hall.
Seriously, Finlay, you must see Dandini. Before God, you must. She's it. The last word in Principal Boys. She's... well, you have to see her to believe her.
Is she attractive, then?
If an old cab horse in tights is attractive, she's a dream. 50 if she's a day. Dances like a ton of bricks. Sounds like... well, you must hear her for yourself.
And you've tickets, you say?
I've got front row seats for every night of the show. It's a treat, Finlay. Really it is. Why not come along tonight?
Well, I've evening surgery.
Evening surgery again. Go on, Finlay. Who's the lucky lady who's getting all this attention?
Oh, do shut up, doggy.
All right, old man. But I'll keep a seat for you, just in case your evening surgery isn't quite as attractive as you hope. Have you time for a quick brandy and splash?
No, I have my calls to finish.
Ah, right you are. Maybe I'll see you tonight.
Maybe you will.
There is going to be a ball at the palace.
A ball? Oh, I'd love to go. But I don't suppose I'll be invited.
I'm sure you will. Baron is sure to be too.
Finlay,
Well,
old
we'll
man.
have to wait and see.
Good to see you.
I know there's so much to do.
Jackson, move up one. Come and sit by me, Finlay. Keep your voice down.
Cinderella, I'll
You're just in
help you.
time for
There's plenty of
Dandini's
firewood
grand
over here.
entrance. It's a sight I can do. Here she comes.
Hey! Whoop!
Hello, friend.
Hello, Dandini!
Has anyone seen Prince Charming?
No, my lord.
I was
Isn't she
looking
just
for
as
him.
I said? Look at those
Love.
legs.
Look at the stuffing in her
You know, very
tights.
sullen fellow.
Look at her
Not all
eyes.
usual carefree self.
Eyes?
If I
you
were
not
a
notice
prince,
them?
I'd know
They must
how
have
to
been
enjoy
very
the
beautiful
lighter
once.
side of life.
You haven't taken a fancy to her.
Friends,
Shut up, man.
villagers,
Jackson, I think the
and
doctor's
countrymen.
fallen for our tale. You keep your voice down. Wait. She's going to try and dance again. Finlay, this is a treat. She can hardly move. Here she goes again.
A glass of water for the great Dandini.
Be quiet, man. Isn't she a scream? Isn't she the funniest thing you've ever seen? No, doggy. She is not.
To most of the audience, Dandini's breathlessness, the flush on her sunken cheeks, her dry cough, were all part and parcel of a terrible performance. To Finlay, there was something very much more.
And thank you, Fairy Godmother, wherever you are.
I'm here, Cinderella. Go now and be happy.
I will.
Hey, will you sit down?
Aren't you glad you came, Finlay?
I'd rather have been anywhere else on earth.
Oh, come on, man. It's a treat. And Miss Letty Lebrun's the great red cherry on top.
Can you not see that she's ill?
Ill? What do you mean?
Never mind.
You never stop being a doctor, Finlay.
How do you get backstage in this place?
Backstage? Now that's an idea. We'll go backstage and congratulate Letty on a fine performance.
I need to speak to her alone.
Finlay, I'm shocked. Aren't you shocked, Jackson?
I am, doggy. I'm very shocked.
I'd have thought you had better taste.
Doggy, will you stop being such a damned fool?
Come on, Finlay, we'll be stage door Johnnies. Isn't that what they're called? We'll declare our undying admiration for the wonderful, the very wonderful Miss Letty Lebrun.
That's it. It's over. I'm leaving. My nerves can't take any more.
You always say that, darling.
I mean it this time. I will not be laughed at.
It is a pantomime. They're supposed to laugh. It's just a pity they do it in all the wrong places.
That's probably the management come to chuck us out anyway.
Answer it, would you? I really don't think I've got the energy to move just now.
You are looking pretty ropey. What about seeing the doctor, like I said?
Perhaps I will.
Why? It's an ugly sister. What an honour to meet you.
Go to hell.
Which one are you? Semolina or tapioca? One of them binds you, doesn't it? Which is it, Doctor? I think it's semolina. Shut up, doggy.
Get out of my way.
Let him through, boys. Now, what can I do for you?
Miss Lebrun, we've come round to compliment you on your superlative performance.
And who are you all? I can see you're tremendous swells.
The name's Lindsay, my friends call me Doggy, my father's the provost.
Is he now, Mr. Lindsay?
He is.
Did I hear someone mention a doctor?
That'll be Finlay.
Miss Lebrun, I wanted a word with you in private.
Oh, doctor. It's so many years since an attractive young man has said that to me.
It's important.
I'm sure it is. But not tonight. Tonight, I want to bask in the glow of your admiration.
She knew fine they were trying to make a fool of her.
Was she as bad as they say?
Aye, pretty bad. But then the whole pantomime was awful. The chorus couldn't sing, the comedian got the jitters, but that's no excuse for Doggy's behaviour.
Doggy never needs an excuse to behave badly.
I'll not forget that woman's eyes. Big blue eyes. You should have seen the contempt in them every time the audience laughed at her.
I thought they were meant to laugh.
Ach, it wasn't that sort of laughter. Derision, more like. I could have strangled Doggy.
A call for you, Dr. Finlay. Could you go and see Miss Letty Lebrun at her lodgings?
Well, I'm damned. Do you want me to go, Finlay?
She was very insistent it should be Dr. Finlay.
Ach, I'll go. I've been expecting her call.
Come in. Doctor, thank you for calling on me in this god-awful place. I won't get up.
Miss Lebrun, I want to tell you how sorry I am for what happened last night.
Your two friends, you mean?
Well, they're no friends of mine. I should have shut Doggy up.
I'm perfectly capable of fighting my own battles, Doctor. Do you know, you have the most penetrating eyes.
Miss Lebrun, please.
Last night in the dressing room, I'd swear you could see right through me. Right into my lungs.
So you know.
That I've consumption. Of course I know.
Are you sure?
Quite sure. I was diagnosed 2 years ago.
Then what do you want from me?
I want you to tell me just how long I've got left to live. Don't look so worried. I don't want it within an hour. Just let me know if it's weeks or months.
Well, I'll get my stethoscope. And you say it was diagnosed 2 years ago?
Yes. But I'd already been ill for some time. I didn't go to the doctor because, well, I'm such a coward, darling.
I'll need to listen to your chest.
Is touring in these godforsaken places... Oh, sorry.
Well, don't apologise. I don't come from these parts. Are you coughing up blood?
Oh, yes.
If you could breathe as deeply as you can. And out. And again. In. And out. Right, thank you. What about night sweats?
I've every symptom on the list.
Right.
Well?
You need complete rest.
Doctor, you know it's much too late for that.
Yeah, we've got maybe 6 months. If you take things easy, it might be longer.
You mean give up the theatre when it's given me so much?
I mean it, Miss Lebrun.
Letty.
If you have complete rest...
I'll eke out my existence for just a little longer.
If you don't rest...
Go away, Doctor.
Letty.
I'll think about it. I promise.
It went hard with Finlay, having to stand by and watch someone slowly die, having no miracle to hand. I'd like to have told him it gets easier as the years go by, but it never does.
Finlay!
Good God. Do you lie in wait for me?
Sorry, old man.
You're always just there, Doggy.
You're angry with me?
I know.
What have I done?
Well, you could have treated Miss Lebrun with a deal more respect the other night.
You think I upset her?
I'm sure of it.
Well, that's just where you're wrong, Doctor. I have an invitation from Miss Letty Lebrun to supper after the last night of Cinderella.
You've what?
Look in black and white, or rather violet ink. Miss Letty Lebrun requests the pleasure
I don't believe this.
She's invited you as well, and Jackson.
What is she thinking?
Maybe she's going to seduce us all.
Is your mind ever on anything else?
Not really, old man. Ooh, can you imagine it? Being kissed by Dandini.
What's this all about?
It's an invitation. Can't you read my
I
writing?
thought I made you understand. You shouldn't still be acting in this...
Farrago?
Well, you certainly shouldn't be going out to supper afterwards. You'll exhaust yourself.
I really think that's my business, Doctor.
What are you doing it for? Why on earth do you want to be inviting Doggy Lindsay out to supper?
You'll see, darling, if you come along.
Well, I've given you my professional advice.
I'll make you a promise. If you come to supper tonight, I'll be as good as gold for... well, for the rest of my life.
Well, how could I possibly say no to that?
This is a fine supper you've laid on for us, Letty.
Aye, it is indeed.
We must have some champagne. Would you open it for me, Doctor?
Well, I've not had much practice.
Just take off the wire and push the cork. The bubbles will do the rest. A toast to days past and days to come.
Days past and days to come.
So, you've dined at the Café Royal.
Many times.
What glamour.
It was very glamorous just after the war.
That would be when you performed on the London stage.
Yes, it was.
Oh, I knew you must have been in, well, bigger pantos than this.
This is my first pantomime, Doggy.
Were you perhaps a classical actress?
No, I was a singer. Grand opera.
Opera?
Yes.
Oh, no, Doggy, grand opera.
I don't suppose you've ever been in an opera house in your life, Doggy.
I might have been.
No, of course, I wasn't known as Letty Lebrun then. It's a silly name. Just part of the pantomime. My real name is Gray. Letty Gray.
Letty Gray?
You know the name?
Means nothing to me.
I don't suppose it would, darling.
You were the Letty Gray?
I still am. Somewhere inside.
I'm sure, if you say so.
No, Doggy, Letty Gray was famous. She was a great singer.
Oh, how would you know, Jackson?
Because I saw her, I heard her sing.
You?
I was no more than 9 or 10. She came to Edinburgh. My father took me to see her.
I'm glad there's at least one opera lover in Leavenford.
It wasn't the opera he loved, it was her.
What?
He'd seen her sing when he was a soldier. She'd gone over to France during the war. Sung to the troops in the trenches. Just before the armistice it was. Damned brave of her, my father said. He never forgot. You can't be Letty Gray.
I am, I promise you.
But you can't sing at all.
I haven't sung properly for years. Dr. Finlay could tell you why.
Finlay?
It's no business of yours.
But I've a mind to sing now.
No, you shouldn't, Letty.
Oh, please do.
And look, there's a piano.
Really, you mustn't do this.
You wouldn't say that if you knew the trouble I had getting someone to bring the piano up those stairs.
I mean, you mustn't sing. Your lungs aren't up to it.
Oh, don't be such a wet blanket, Finlay.
I'm going to be Letty Gray just once more, darling, before it's too late. And before a very specially selected audience. On the banks of Allan water, when the sweet springtime did fall, was the miller's lovely daughter.
My God.
Fairest of them all. On the banks of Allan water, when the winter snow fell rest. But the miller's lovely daughter, both from cold and care was free. On the banks of the long water, in a grave lay she.
That was marvellous.
It was.
I've never heard anything so wonderful.
You should sit down, Letty, and rest.
No, just one more song, darling. Seht ihr, Freunde, seht ihr's nicht, immer Lichter,
What on earth? She's bleeding.
Get out of my way, man. Letty!
What's wrong?
Oh, it's hemorrhage. Help me get her to the sofa.
Oh, I shouldn't have laughed at that. I meant no harm.
Letty, can you hear me?
What's wrong with her?
She's dying.
My God, what can I do? I'll do anything.
We have to get her to the hospital. I'll bring my car round. You stay with her. Will you do that?
Of course I will.
Jackson, find a telephone. Let the hospital know they're coming.
Right. Oh, Letty. Letty, I'm so sorry. Don't die. Please. Don't die.
She was still unconscious when Finlay got her to the cottage hospital, but she got through the night, and in the morning she seemed a little stronger.
Where? Dr. Finlay.
It's all right, Letty.
Where am I? Looks like a garden.
They're flowers from Doggy. You're in hospital.
I've never seen so many daffodils. Oh, and red roses too, my favourite. Where on earth did he get roses at this time of year?
I think Doggy knows a man who knows a man.
That sounds like Doggy. Thank him for me, would you?
Well, you can thank him yourself. He's waiting outside. He's been here all night.
You were right, darling. I shouldn't have sung, should I?
No, you shouldn't.
But I'm so glad I did.
Doggy, you can come in now. You can't stay long.
I know, man. Miss Gray, how are you feeling?
I've no pain. I thought there'd be pain.
Can I sit with her a while, please, Finlay?
Well, if she likes.
I do.
I'll leave you. Don't tire her, Doggy.
I swear I won't. Miss Gray?
Letty, please. And I refuse to call you Doggy. What's your proper name?
James.
James.
I wanted to tell you I've never heard anything so beautiful as your singing.
I hope it was a fitting last performance.
Don't say that. You'll be fine in a couple of months. I mean to hear you at Covent Garden.
Dear James, sit with me while I go to sleep.
I will. I'll stay with you.
Thank you, darling.
In those last weeks, Letty had all she needed. Doggy saw to that. He paid for everything, and he took her flowers every day. Great masses of flowers.
This reminds me of the first night of Traviata. There were flowers all over the stage. David even threw me a rose from the royal box.
Tell me about your first performance in New York again.
I will. Tomorrow. But go home now. You must sleep or you'll be ill.
Maybe I should. You'll be wanting to get rid of me.
You know that's not true.
I'll be back before you wake. I promise.
She's rallied a little.
But she'll not recover.
No, there's no chance of that. It's as if Doggy's keeping her alive, as if he's willing her to stay with him.
Doctor, there's a message from the hospital.
Finlay, do you think Letty will like these tulips? I had the devil's own job finding them, but my
Doggy.
man...
Letty died in the night.
No.
It was very peaceful.
Why didn't someone send for me? Why wasn't I with her?
It was quite sudden.
I should have stayed.
Man, you couldn't have done anything.
I hadn't made her sing.
You didn't make her. Nothing could make Letty do what she didn't want to. You know that well enough.
Aye. I think I do.
Doggy made all the arrangements for the funeral. It was very simple. There was no show about it. Nothing of the old Doggy Lindsay.
She was, of course, a wonderful singer. And before we say goodbye to Letty Gray, I want us to sing one last song for her.
On the banks of Allen Water, when the sweet springtime
It was a grand send-off for her.
It was.
I didn't know Doggy had such a fine voice.
Aye, there's a lot about Doggy that surprised me. And himself, I've no doubt.
Letty Gray lies buried under a fine marble stone in Leavenford Cemetery. Every week Doggy lays flowers on her grave. He's lost his gush and his taste for brandy splashes, but these days there's something more about him of the man.
Finlay. The story of Wee Robertson.
The trouble with Finlay was he always thought he knew what was best for folk. But he wasn't so sure after Robbie Robertson's adventure. I'd never come across what happened to wee Robbie before.
No, you can do better than this, boys and girls. Now, all together, from the beginning.
It was the talk of Leavenford for a good many months, but not when Mrs. Robertson was about. He wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of Sarah Robertson.
Robert, you left behind your muffler and your gloves. You'll catch your death.
Thank you, dear.
Janet was away visiting her sister in Dundee. She never forgave herself for missing all the excitement.
Put your muffler on this minute. It's bitter in here. Let me tuck it in.
I can manage.
Oh, you never do it properly. There you are. All cosy. Now, children, you be good. I want Mr. Robertson home for his supper by 8 o'clock, so do as he tells you, and don't you dare make him late.
Sarah.
When I was summoned to attend to wee Robbie that Friday evening, I'd a mind to go, but then I thought, no, it'd be a grand experience for Finlay. There's a call for you, Finlay, if you care for a stroll up to Barlow Toll this evening to see Robbie Robertson.
Robertson? Isn't he the teacher up at the academy?
He is. A very good one, I believe.
Do you know what's ailing him?
His wife didn't say, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's not Mrs. Robertson herself.
She's a hard one, is she?
Oh, no. Sarah Robertson's a devoted wife. There isn't a thing she wouldn't do for wee Robbie. The trouble is, there isn't a thing she doesn't do for him either.
Now, Robert, you sit close by the fire.
I'm fine where I am, dear.
Oh, you're in the draft. I don't want you catching pneumonia as well as, well, whatever's the matter with you.
It's just a headache.
Ah, your third one this week. There's something wrong and I mean to find out what. Are you wanting another cushion?
No.
Oh, I'll just fetch you one. You'll need it for your back.
I'll get the door.
Oh, you will not, you silly man. You're not to move. It'll be the doctor.
Oh, Sarah.
Now, what seems to be the trouble, Mr. Robertson?
It's nothing at all.
Take no notice of him, Doctor.
I don't want...
He's been working much too hard lately. What with Mr. Douglas being away, he teaches the next class. And now Robert has all his children to take. And there's a cantata. They're giving a special concert on Saturday week for the church jubilee. Robert's preparing the children. It's just one thing after another for the poor man. He's working himself to death.
Don't take on, Sarah, please.
And now he has these constant headaches.
I wouldn't say they were constant.
Take no notice of him, Doctor.
And whereabouts are the headaches?
I'd be thinking they're in his head,
Mrs.
Doctor.
Robertson, if I could just ask your husband some questions.
Of course, Doctor. That's what you're here for.
Perhaps if you could leave us for a wee while, we could...
It's all right, Doctor. I'll stay. We're not the sort of couple who have secrets from one another, are we, Robert?
We're not.
These headaches, are they at the front of your head or the top?
Well, they're sort of all over.
And do you feel any sickness with them?
Even...
Mr. Robertson.
Perhaps a little.
You never told me that.
I didn't want to worry you.
Oh, there you are. You see what a good man he is.
And are you sleeping all right?
He tosses and turns. He's not getting any rest. Only the other night I woke up and he wasn't in his bed.
Mr. Robertson, I'm just going to look into your eyes.
He was staring out of the window. He couldn't tell me what was wrong. I had to sit with him for more than an hour before he'd come back to bed.
That's it. Now, will you follow my finger? That's good.
In the morning, he didn't remember a thing about it.
Good.
Did you, Robert?
No, dear, not a thing.
He's not himself at all.
Well, I don't think there's anything physically wrong.
Thank goodness for that.
Maybe you need a holiday, Mr. Robertson.
Maybe I do.
If only he could, Doctor. But what with the concert and his schoolwork? He doesn't like to let anyone down, that's his trouble. Isn't it, Robert? Robert!
My dear?
There you are, Doctor, you see. He's not himself at all.
Mr. Robertson?
I'm sorry, I was miles away.
I'll leave you something to help you sleep. And if you're still not feeling right, the end of next week you come and see me at the surgery.
He will, Doctor, don't you worry, I'll make sure of that.
Finlay thought no more about it. If you don't hear from a patient, you presume they're not in need of you, which is a very foolish presumption indeed.
Eat up your bannock, Robert. Robert?
Yes, dear?
Finish your breakfast now.
Yes, dear.
I've put your music in your briefcase. If you're finished with the children by 2, we can go into town and get that jacket for you. I want you to look really smart for the concert. And don't forget Maccabe's closes early on a Saturday.
It's a lovely day.
It's going to be fine, thank goodness. Maybe we'll take a bit of a walk when we get home. Or we could sit in the garden, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
I must be going.
Don't forget your hat, Robert. Oh, I'm taking you to the doctor first thing Monday morning. You're just not yourself.
Good morning to you, Mr. Robertson.
What?
I said good morning. Do you not remember me, Jackson of the Leavenford Express?
I'm sorry, I've no idea who you are.
I wrote a review of your last concert. A glowing review, I might say.
Concert?
You sent, oh, rather your wife sent me a letter of thanks. I don't get many of those.
My wife? I don't know what you're talking about. I'll say good day to you.
Good day. Mad as a hatter.
Barlow 426. Hello? Hello, Mrs. Sharp. No, Robert's not here. He should be with you by now. What's the time? Yes, he should have been with you an hour ago. No, he was going straight to the hall with shopping to do afterwards. No, I don't know where he could be.
And Sarah Robertson began to fret. When wee Robbie didn't come home for his lunch, she began to worry. By tea time, there was still no sign. Something had to be done.
I'm sick with worry about him, Doctor.
I'm sure there's no need.
Oh, but there is. He's not been to the rehearsals up at the hall and he's not come home. He's nowhere to be found.
Well, maybe he decided not to go to the hall after all.
Oh, he wouldn't do that. They were relying on him. He wouldn't let them down. Something dreadful's happened. I know it has.
Well, there's nothing I can do, I'm afraid. You'll have to go to the police.
I've been there. They won't do a thing. They say he's only been gone a morning and I'm to come back if he's not home by Monday. But that's a whole 2 days. Anything could happen to him.
I don't know what I can do to help.
You can tell them he's ill. Tell the police.
Yes, but he's not ill. There's nothing physically wrong with him. He's just overtired.
He could be lying in a ditch somewhere. Unconscious. Dead!
Mrs. Robertson, calm down. I'm sure he'll be back for his supper and wondering what all this fuss is about.
Oh, you don't know my Robert. He can't manage without me. Really, he can't. Where can he be, Doctor? Where can he be?
Tickets, please. This is the last sailing to the Cowles of Bute today. Can I have all tickets, please? Can I see your ticket, sir?
Ticket? Oh, yes, I should have a ticket, shouldn't I?
You should have purchased one before you got on the ferry.
Can I buy it from you?
You can, but it'll be the full price. Is it for Curn, Dunoon or Rothsay?
Sorry?
Where would you be wanting to get off the ferry?
Rothsay? Yes. Rothsay.
That'll be one in threepence.
Oh. There you are.
It's Mr. Robertson, isn't it?
What?
I was in your class. Oh, it must be 10 years ago now.
What in the world are you talking about, man?
Aren't you Mr. Robertson from Leavenford Academy?
Academy? I know nothing about an academy.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I must be mistaken. But you're very like him.
What time are we due to land?
About 6 o'clock for Rothsay.
Do you know of a good place to stay on the island?
There are plenty of guest houses and hotels.
I want somewhere quiet, out of the way.
Well, there's Mrs. Begg. She does bed and breakfast, and she won't have many guests this early in the season.
That'd suit me just fine.
She's at the end of Cowell Way. I hope you didn't take offence, sir. Me thinking you were someone else.
Someone else?
As the time went on, and still there was no sign of Robertson, people began to sympathise with his wife. Perhaps she had reason to be worried after all. Mrs. Johnson remembered seeing wee Robbie coming out of the bank, and Dougal Todd, the sign painter, had called out to him in the high street, but he didn't even turn his head.
Oh, Robert! Robert! Oh, I'm never going to see you again!
Afternoon, sir. Can I help you?
I believe you have rooms to let.
I usually like my guests to book in advance.
I didn't know I was going to come here until the last minute.
To be honest, sir, I'm not really open until next month.
Oh, right. Do you know of somewhere else?
You look all in.
I'm tired. I don't know why.
I've a front room you could have. It's not properly aired, though.
I'm sure it would suit me fine.
Will your luggage be along later?
No, I've just the one wee bag. I've everything I need in here.
And what name is it, sir?
Name?
Your name?
Scott. Walter Scott.
Were your parents great readers?
I'm sorry?
Did they like his novels? Sir Walter Scott?
Oh, yes. I suppose they must have.
On Saturday evening, the 7:15 slow train from Glasgow chugged back into Leavenford station, bringing home not Robbie Robertson, but his bowler hat.
It's Robert's hat. I wrote his initials inside there, you see? R.R. He never goes anywhere without his hat. Oh, he's dead. Oh, I know he is.
You sound very cheerful this morning.
I've never slept so well in my life.
It's the air on the island. There's nothing like it.
That must be the reason.
I hope it's given you an appetite.
Is all that food for me?
Well, I didn't know what you liked for breakfast, so I cooked a little bit of everything.
Are you always so good to your guests?
No. Do you like bacon?
I don't know.
You must know.
Aye, I must. I really can't recall, but I'll give it a try. Will you sit with me?
Oh, I shouldn't. I've a carpets to clean.
Please. It'll be lonely without someone to talk to.
All right.
Can I pour you some tea?
No, I'll do it.
Thank you.
So will your family be joining you on the island?
I've no family. I've no ties at all.
Sarah Robertson suffocated the poor man.
Not literally, I hope.
She might as well have done. She never lets him be for a moment. It's her own fault he's gone.
You think he's just run away?
Wouldn't you?
Well, I don't know. Marriage is a mystery to me. They seem to have rubbed along all right all these years. Why should he go now?
Maybe it was something you said to him.
I only said he needed a holiday.
There you are, man. It's all your fault.
What are the best places to visit on the island, Nancy?
Oh, there are so many. You could see Castle, or go down to Bay, or you could walk up to Skioch Wood. Or you could take a cruise round the Kyles.
I'd like to do all of that.
Oh, and there's the Standing Stones, of course. I could make you a picnic and you could take it up till Strad.
There's so much to fit in. Will you come with me?
Oh, I really can't.
Please. I'd be lonely on my own.
Oh, I've got 100 things to do before the new season.
I'll help you do some of them if you'll show me the island.
Has anyone ever told you you're a very persuasive man, Walter?
No. No, I don't think they have. As far as I can remember.
Monday came, and there was still no sign of Robertson. Tuesday and Wednesday passed, and the police began to search the fields by the bridge. By Thursday, they were dragging the river, and the newspapers had hold of the story.
What do you think has happened to your husband, Mrs. Robertson?
I don't know. If I knew I wouldn't be here, I'd be with my Robert.
Can you tell our readers what your feelings are?
I just want him back. I want my husband home, safe and sound.
Of course. Do you have a photograph?
Photograph?
For the paper, someone might recognise him, come forward with information.
Oh, yes. Oh, there's the school photograph. I thought he looked so distinguished in his gown and mortarboard. Oh, Robert, where are you?
Local schoolmaster missing, feared dead.
Is there a picture of him?
There is. Even bears a passing resemblance to the man. Maybe it'll do the trick. Maybe someone will recognise him.
Poor devil.
He has to come home, Dr. Cameron.
Why?
Well, he's a wife to come back to, a job. He can't just disappear.
Why not?
Well, because it's just not right.
Finlay, there's too much of the Kirk in you sometimes.
It's so beautiful here.
It is.
Have you always lived on the island?
Oh, no. I came here with my husband from Wick. Oh, God, it must be about 10 years ago now. We only came for a visit, fell in love with the place and decided to stay. After Tom died, well, I didn't want to leave. I never want to leave.
Neither do I. Maybe I'll stay.
But you must have a life to go back to. A job. I don't even know what you do.
I don't have a very important job.
Oh, I'm sure you do. You seem the sort of man who'd do something special.
What do you think my job is?
I don't know.
Try and guess.
All right. Well, you've caught the sun now, but when I first saw you, you were very pale, and you looked as if you'd all the troubles of the world on your shoulders, so it'll be an indoor job, but one with lots of responsibilities. A solicitor, or maybe a doctor.
A doctor? That could well be.
Or you might have escaped from prison and be on the run. That would explain your pale skin and the way you're always looking over your shoulders if you expect someone to be behind you, someone you don't want to see.
Do I do that?
Is there someone?
If there is, I've quite forgotten them.
He's gone. My Robert's gone and he's never coming back. It's all my fault.
Mrs. Robertson, please calm down.
I drove him away. It was all because of me.
I'm sure it wasn't.
It was. I know you think that. I know everyone thinks that.
They don't.
They do. You do. You can tell me the truth. You think it was my fault, don't you?
Well, I just...
You do?
Well, I only think that maybe...
How can you be so cruel, Doctor, blaming me?
Mrs. Robertson, look, would you please take this? It'll help you sleep.
What is it?
It's just something to keep you quiet. It'll quieten you down, that is, make you feel better.
I'll never feel better. Not till my Robert walks through that door.
That's it, drink it all.
Do you think he will, Doctor?
Yes, I'm sure he will. Now, I really must be getting back to Arden House.
Stay, just a little longer. I'll make you some tea.
No, thank you.
I've got some shortbread I was keeping for Robert. Dear Robert. My dear Robert.
You just lie down now. That's it.
Oh, you need feeding up, Doctor.
No, really, I don't.
You do, I can see that. Sit yourself down, and I'll make you a proper...
Mrs. Robertson. Mrs. Robertson. I'll see myself out.
Look, Walter. There's a dance at Cowell Hall tonight. Do you dance?
I think I might.
Don't you know?
We'll see tonight.
You have such an odd way of putting things. It's as if everything comes as a surprise to you.
I think maybe it does. Do you mind?
I like it. I never know what you're going to say next.
Neither do I.
It couldn't last, of course. Wee Robbie's adventure. Not with his face staring out from every newspaper in the district.
Leaving Express?
Hello, I've just seen a copy of your newspaper. Someone left it on the ferry.
I'm sorry, who's this?
I've seen your man, Robertson. He was on my ferry. I think I know where you'll find him.
You can dance.
So I can.
You sound surprised.
I am. Everything about me's a surprise.
Oh, Walter, you're so strange.
I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry. I love it.
So do I.
He's been spotted.
Who?
Robertson, of course. Is there any other topic of conversation in Leavenford?
Are they sure it's him?
Almost certain. That Jackson from the Express just rang with the news. Seems an ex-pupil bumped into him on the ferry to Rossi the day he disappeared. Mrs. Robertson and Jackson are going to Butte this afternoon to fetch him back. I think he sees a front page splash in this one.
Poor Robertson. Back into his cage.
Well, they can't make him come home if he doesn't want to.
He'll be no match for Sarah Robertson and young Jackson together. Unless he has someone on his side.
Oh no, Doctor, I am not getting involved.
He was under your care when he disappeared. You've a responsibility, man.
I haven't danced like that for years.
I don't think I've ever danced like that.
Walter, I'm going to miss you.
I'm not going anywhere.
When your holiday's over.
I told you. I'm thinking of staying right here.
Oh, I wish you could. But what about your job? Your home? You must have a home.
I'd like this to be my home. Don't you want me to stay?
You know I do.
Would you mind if I put my arm round you?
I'd like that.
Would you mind if I kissed you?
Are you sure it was my Robert?
I'm telling you, I know it was Mr. Robertson.
How can you be so certain?
Because he looked just like this photograph. Except...
What?
He didn't look so mousy, so beaten down as he does in the picture. But the man taught me for years. I said to him, "You're Mr. Robertson, aren't you?" And he denied it. Made me feel a complete fool.
He's not been well.
Will he still be staying with this beg woman, you think?
How should I know? All I can tell you is he's not come back on the steamer while I've been on duty. Is there a reward for finding him, then?
Would you like a small brandy before you go up to bed?
I don't know if I like brandy.
I'm sure you do.
I think I might be a whisky sort of man. Or maybe I'm teetotal. What do you think?
No, I'm sure it's brandy you like.
All right. Will you join me?
Of course. Who on earth can that be at this time?
Should I see?
No, you sit there and I'll get rid of them, whoever they are. Walter?
What is it? What's wrong?
Robert? Oh, Robert! Are you all right?
Who the hell are you? Get away from me!
Let them be, Mrs. Robertson. The man's sick.
Hello, Robertson. You've led us a merry dance.
Nancy, who are these people? What's going on?
Don't know.
I'll call the police if you don't get out of this house.
He's gone mad.
It's all right, Mrs. Robertson. I think he's lost his memory. I heard of a case like this when I was in Glasgow, and I think
Robert, you must know me.
I certainly hope not.
Your front page news. Look, man.
Nancy, what's going on?
I see. Walter, it is you.
Smile for the camera, Nancy.
Jackson, keep out of this. Now sit down, Robertson. Have you got a brandy, Mrs. Begg?
I was just pouring some for us both. Here, Walter.
Will you stop calling him Walter?
It's my name.
Your name's Robert Robertson. You're my husband and you have been these last 25 years. Read it if you don't believe me. It's there in black and white.
Oh, my God.
Right, come away, man. Sit quietly. We'll have a wee talk.
I thought you were dead.
Will you tell that woman to go away?
Yeah, all of you. Just leave us alone for a while.
I'll be just outside if you need me.
Nancy.
It'll be all right, Walter.
Robertson, do you remember me?
Should I?
What do you remember?
Well, that's the oddest thing. I don't know. I keep trying to remember things, and I think I do, like my name. But I don't know if they're real.
Right, well, I'm just going to check you over.
There's nothing wrong with me, man. I've never felt better in my life.
Well, how do you know?
I don't. What's happened to me?
You've had a breakdown of some kind. Now, you put your hand over your left eye and follow my finger. That's it. Now the right one. I'm just going to test your reflexes.
Is that woman really my wife?
She is. And she's been almost out of her mind with worry over you.
Has she? I'm sorry to hear that.
Do you remember how you got here?
Oh, yes. I was on a steamer.
Aye, and how did you get on the steamer?
I'm not sure. I remember walking a long way in a train, and there's this music going through my mind all the time. Am I a musician?
A teacher.
Oh.
Do you not recognise your wife at all?
No. Well...
What?
Oh, Robert!
There was something about her voice. I've heard that voice somewhere before. Are you sure she's my wife?
Aye, quite sure.
Do I have to go back with her?
Well, if you want to.
What should I do?
I can't tell you that. Do you want to stay here?
I did. But it's been spoilt now.
Robert, you gave me such a fright.
Did I? I'm sorry.
You'll have to go carefully with him, Mrs. Robertson.
Oh, I know that. You think I don't know how to treat my own husband? No, Robert, tuck your scarf in. It's chilly on the water. You'll go straight to bed when you get home, and if there's any trouble about school, I'll speak to the headmaster myself. Don't you worry about a thing, Robert. I'll take care of everything.
So Robbie's home, safe and sound.
Well, safe. Mrs. Robertson will see to that. But it was terribly sad, Dr. Cameron, seeing the change in him as the boat got nearer to the mainland. Sparkle went out of his eyes, sprang out of his walk. He seemed to shrink with every furlong.
And he's recovered his memory?
As soon as he was back in his own home, surrounded by familiar things. It's not unusual. Except...
What?
It was just something he said. It made me wonder whether he'd really ever lost it in the first place.
Doctor, this amnesia...
What about it?
Did it ever come back, do you know?
Oof, you won't want to worry about that.
I'm not worried, Doctor. I was just curious.
Well, it's possible, of course.
Thank you, Dr. Finlay. That's all I wanted to know.
And he smiled, and I'd swear that just for a moment there was a twinkle in his eye.
Finlay, the wife of a hero.
The trouble with Finlay was he sometimes couldn't see what was right in front of his nose. When Leavenford got into the second round of the Scottish Cup, the whole town went mad. 3-0 against Thistle. It meant a second round match with the Glasgow Rangers, top of the First Division, at that time the best team in the country. In the shipyards, in the pubs, on street corners, it was all folk talked about. At least folk who had the slightest interest in football.
Finlay!
Paxton!
We've done it, man! We've done it!
Done what?
We're in the second round!
Eh? We?
Leavenford United, the second round, the Scottish Cup. Weren't you at the match?
No.
The whole town was there. You missed a miracle, Finlay. Sorry, Finlay. I was indulged at the Rotary Club dinner last night. Look, let me buy you a drink.
Oh, I'm fine, thanks.
Well, I'm having something. Red Hackle Ted, make it a double. 3-0 it was, Finlay. all three scored by Ned Sutherland. The second goal, he just swerved it into the net from the left wing. You should have seen it. And the penalty sent the goalie completely the wrong way.
Oh, is that right?
I tell you, with Ned on the side, we can win the cup.
Aye, well, maybe.
Maybe? What do you mean, maybe? Ned Sutherland's still the best winger in the country.
Well, I'm sure he is, but I don't really know much about football.
You don't know much about football?
Rugby's more my game.
Oh, here it comes! Here we are! Ned, over here, man! Look, have a drink on me.
Oh, Mr. Paxton, I wouldn't mind if he sniffed her.
Well, what'll it be?
Brandy, double if you don't mind.
You can have a treble if you like, Matt.
Well,
Ted! You know Dr. Finlay?
No, I don't think so.
I delivered your daughter last summer, Mr. Sutherland.
Oh, Katie, did you? Well, in that case, Doctor, maybe I should be buying you a wee drink.
Oh, you'll not do that, Ned. It'll never be said in Leavenford that Ned Sutherland had to buy his own drinks. Yeah, cheers!
Look at this. It's all over the newspaper.
What is?
Local team triumphs. What else? Assassination of the King of Yugoslavia. Just a paragraph on page 2. Ned Sutherland's miraculous left foot. All over the front page. And the back. Oh, I don't believe this. A middle page spread. What is it about the man?
You must ask Janet.
Janet?
She'll tell you anything you want to know about Leavenford United.
I don't believe you.
Ask her, you'll see.
I don't remember this endless talk about football last year.
We weren't into the second round of the Cup last year. In fact, we were lucky to still be in the second division by the end of the season.
You're a football fan yourself then, Doctor?
You'll find it's a good thing, Finlay, to share some of your patients' interests, if not their prejudices.
Would you be wanting your kippers now?
Thank you, Janet.
Not for me, thank you, Janet.
Before you go, Finlay wanted to ask you something.
Yes, Doctor.
Go on, man.
I was just wondering why there was all this fuss about Ned Sutherland.
I really don't know.
You don't?
No. Of course, some people think he's the backbone of the team, but I'm of the opinion Jimmy McNeice and Oliver Neal are just as capable of scoring goals, and they're certainly more likely to turn up in the day without a hangover. Are you sure you won't be having a kipper?
Aye, maybe I will after all.
There.
Can you shut that baby up?
No, I can't.
Since I got a terrible heat this morning.
And whose fault is that?
Look, can I help it if people buy me drinks? I can't say no, can I? Can't offend them. I need to keep on the right side of Paxton if I want to get a job off him. If I'd known babies made all this noise, I'd never have had one.
You didn't. Oh, she's not right. I'm taking you to the surgery, aren't I, Katie? The doctor will make you all better, won't he?
Well, ask him about your eye while you're there.
Oh, no, it's not worth it. It's fine now. We just want something to stop you from fretting, don't we, Katie?
Aye, if you keep me up half the night.
Ned Sutherland, you're the limit.
What?
You're out boozing all last evening and you have the nerve to blame your own daughter for your hangover.
Oh, she's a cruel woman, isn't she, Katie? She doesn't know how much I need my sleep, how important the match is. After Saturday, Katie, your daddy's going to be the most famous man in Scotland. You know that? Your daddy's going to be a hero.
Yeah, well, let's have a look at her, Mrs. Sutherland.
I'm sure it's only a cold, Doctor, but she doesn't seem to be throwing it off at all.
She's certainly grown.
She has that.
Well, Katie, let's see if you've a fever. Are you still breastfeeding her?
I had to stop. I didn't seem to have enough for her. You're a greedy wee thing, aren't you, my love?
You're looking a wee bit tired.
I'm fine. It's Katie I'm worried about.
Yeah, well, her chest's clear. Temperature's normal. I think it's just a cold. And she's tearing. She's in a bad temper, and she's letting you know.
Just like her father, aren't you, darling?
Are you sure you're all right in yourself?
It's nothing.
You just seem a little unsteady. Are you dizzy?
A bit. It's 'cause of my eye.
Your eye?
I can't seem to see out of my left eye.
Well, you mean you're blind in that eye?
I'm sure it's nothing.
Do you have any sort of headache?
Sometimes. More and more these days, and they're pretty bad.
And how long have you been having the dizzy spells?
Just these last weeks. I don't want Ned to be worried.
Yeah, well, let's just forget about Ned for the moment. Did you notice any deterioration in your eyesight?
I don't think so. Except maybe a shadow. I can't explain it. Like there was a shadow inside my head.
Right, well, Mrs. Sutherland, I'm going to have a look at your eyes. I have to turn the light down. Then I'll be looking very closely at your eye with an ophthalmoscope. Won't hurt you at all.
I don't mind, Doctor.
All right. If you could try not to blink. Open your eye wide as you can. That's it. I just need to...
What is it, Dr. Finlay?
No, I just had trouble finding the retina, but I've got it now. If you could just stay quite still for a moment.
It's hard not to blink, especially when you're told you mustn't.
Aye, it is, I know that. Well, that's fine. Well, you can blink as much as you like now. That's me finished. I'll just turn the light back on. Does that hurt at all?
Not really.
Oh, well, that's good. Did you have a blow of any kind in the eye lately?
No. What's wrong?
No, I'd just like Dr. Cameron to see if you don't mind, Mrs. Sutherland.
It's something bad. Then.
Oh, no, it's just I'd like him to have a wee look at your eye. Would you mind if I just called him in?
Of course not.
You sit yourself down. I won't be a moment. Janet!
Doctor!
Janet, is Dr. Cameron not in?
He's out on a call.
Ah, damn.
He shouldn't be long. He's over at Tannock Brae to see Archie Paxton.
Oh, don't tell me. The man's eaten too much again. He expects us to cure his bellyache.
I really don't know, Doctor, but I wouldn't be surprised.
I have a patient in the surgery, Janet. Ned Sutherland's wife.
Aye?
Would you mind if I sent her in here to sit with you till Dr. Cameron gets back? I don't really want to leave her in the waiting room.
Of course, Doctor. I'd be interested to know who she thinks will be in the team on Saturday.
Oh, God, not the match again. Doesn't anyone talk about anything else?
Hospital? Don't be absurd, Cameron. The match is on Saturday. I can't go to hospital.
Just for a day or two. I'd like to keep you under observation.
It's just a bad stomach I've got.
And maybe something more.
It's always guttache, and you always give me something for it, and it always goes away.
And you always promise not to eat too much ever again, and get some of this fat off you.
If I do, will you forget this nonsense about the hospital?
I think you may have something a bit more serious than a bad stomach, Archie.
What?
I can't be sure, partly because of all the fat around your abdomen. I'd like to ring matron and arrange a bed for you.
If you must. As long as I'm out before Saturday.
Well, you must be getting very excited.
Excited?
About the match?
Oh, aye, the match.
Or are you bored with folk going on and on about it?
Well...
You probably wish Leavenford had never got through.
Oh, no. It's Ned's big moment. I wouldn't have anything ruin that. Are those Leavenford colours you're knitting?
They are. It's a hat for Saturday. But don't tell the doctors, or I'd never hear the end of it.
Dr. Cameron!
What are you skulking there for, man? You almost gave me a heart attack.
I've been waiting for you. I wonder if you'd come into the surgery for a moment.
What's this all about?
Mrs. Sutherland's been in to see me.
Jenny? Is it little Katie?
No, she's just got a cold. It's Mrs. Sutherland herself.
What's the matter, man?
Well, I don't know. I'd like your opinion.
I'll be wanting yours on Archie Paxton.
I think this might be a deal more serious than an upset stomach. Will you take a wee look at her for me?
Of course I will. What's your diagnosis? Keep both your eyes open if you can. Good. Now you can blink. You're very thin. Have you lost weight recently?
I have. That's looking after a baby for you.
How's... now close the right eye. How's your appetite?
Fine. Well, I eat enough.
Now I want to look at your right eye. That's it. You have headaches?
Now and then.
I wonder if you and Ned could look in on me and Finlay in the morning.
Then there is something bad the matter with me.
There is.
Something very serious, lass.
What is it?
You'll have to go into hospital.
I couldn't do that. I can't leave Katie. I can't leave Ned to look after her. Tell me what's wrong.
It's something called melanotic sarcoma.
That sounds important.
Aye.
What can you give me for it?
It's very advanced, Jenny. It's likely to have spread to other parts of your body.
You mean there's nothing you can give me?
We need to talk to your husband.
No.
He has to be told.
No! You'll say nothing to him. I'll tell him in my own good time. After the match.
Mrs.
Aye,
Sutherland,
Jenny, you leave it till after the match. It went hard with Finlay.
There should be something we can do for her. I'm a doctor, for God's sake. I can't just let her die without doing something.
But he knew there wasn't a thing to be done. The cancer had already spread too far, which is probably why he didn't pay as much attention to Archie Paxton as he might have done.
Mr. Paxton, wake up.
Oh! What is it? Oh, nurse.
The doctor will be here to have a look at you in a little while.
Cameron's already prodded me quite enough.
It'll be Dr. Finlay.
Finlay? Not a footballing man. Doesn't say much for his intelligence. Is he any good?
He's an excellent doctor. I'm going to give you a sponge bath now. So if you could just slip off your pyjama top. Are you in pain?
I'm fine. This is all a fuss about nothing. I know you, don't I? Aren't you Johnny Angus's youngest?
I am.
Sally, is it?
Peggy.
Last time I saw you, you were riding some old nag in the gymkhana up at your father's place. What on earth are you doing here?
Nursing.
I can see that. But why?
Well, maybe I thought there was more to life than gymkhanas.
Aye, there's football.
And maybe I'll go back to Newcastle or Manchester. How would you like Manchester, eh, Jenny?
You haven't won the game yet.
No, but I will, and when I do, they'll be knocking at the door again. None of that Ned Sutherland's past it, par. I'll show them all. When I beat the Rangers, there'll be no stopping me. What about London? Hotspurs, maybe? Can you see us in London, Jenny?
Let's just get past Saturday, Ned.
Look, don't you worry about Saturday. I know just what's going to happen on Saturday. I'll be the hero of Leavenford.
I'm to be out of here by Saturday, Finlay.
Are you now?
Cameron promised.
Well, we'll see. Nurse, will you draw the bedclothes back?
Doctor?
Have you any diarrhoea?
No.
Vomiting?
No.
What about pain? Does this hurt?
Well, of course, if you press me like that, it hurts, man.
Mm-hmm. And here?
Not to speak of.
Doctor?
Yes, what is it?
It's nothing. I'm sorry.
Doesn't she make a pretty nurse?
I beg your pardon?
She looks bonny in that uniform. Go on, Doctor. I saw the way you looked at her. Oh, don't mind me, Finlay. I've known Peggy since she was a little girl. Haven't I, Peggy?
Please, Mr. Paxton.
Would you take his pillows away, nurse? Lie flat, Mr. Paxton.
Oh. I had a touch of indigestion, that's all. Cameron's making a fuss about nothing.
I doubt that. Does it hurt to pass urine?
No.
And you're how old now?
58, last birthday, fit as a fiddle.
And you say you've no pain now?
I'm as right as rain.
You did have discomfort earlier, didn't you? I'm sorry, Doctor, but I noticed when I gave Mr. Paxton his bed bath, he seemed to be in pain.
Thank you, nurse.
Wind, that's all it was.
All right, Mr. Paxton, we'll keep you in tonight, see how you get on, and if there's no sign of any trouble, you can leave in the morning.
I'll have my suitcase packed and ready.
Yes, good afternoon to you.
You're a wee sneak, Peggy Angus.
Nurse, could I have a wee word outside?
Yes, Doctor.
Nurse Angus, you'll not interrupt me during an examination.
I'm sorry, Doctor.
And you won't contradict a patient in his presence. Any comments you have can wait till we're alone.
Yes, Doctor.
Even if you happen to know the patient. You seem to be personally acquainted with half the patients in this hospital, or at least the wealthy ones.
What do you mean by that, Doctor?
I mean nothing except remember you're a nurse, not a debutante.
I'll try, Doctor, if I possibly can. Will that be all?
Yes.
Finlay couldn't see what was in front of him, but then neither could Peggy, even if it was plain to the rest of us. And poor Finlay had other matters on his mind. So what did you think about Paxton?
Touch of gastritis, that's all.
Do you think so?
He says there's no pain, his temperature's down. I don't think you have to worry about him. No, it's Jenny Sutherland I'm concerned with.
I know.
Ned Sutherland ought to be told.
Aye, but you can't tell him.
She needs rest. She needs looking after. All he cares about is his damned football.
I know how hard it is. Death.
She's not dead yet. I've been reading up on similar cases.
Then you'll know there's little hope.
There are new techniques, drugs even.
Far too late for that, man. I'm sorry.
I'll call in there this morning, see how she is.
But you'll say nothing to Ned, will you? Finlay?
I'll get it. Dr. Finlay?
How do you, Ned?
No. Dr. Finlay, what on earth are you doing here?
Just wanted to see how you were.
Katie, you mean? She's just fine.
She's cutting her first tooth, Doctor.
Aye.
So there was no need to call by.
So how's Mr. Paxton? I heard he was in the hospital.
He's fine. He insisted on being discharged this morning.
Well, he's not going to miss the match for anything.
Mrs. Sutherland,
It was good of you to call, but you must be busy, so we'll let you get on your way.
Aye, well, I'll say goodbye then.
Right, goodbye then, Doctor. And there's no need to look so worried. We'll win on Saturday, I promise you that.
Finlay could see she was deteriorating fast, and that husband of hers was oblivious to everything but the great match. And worse, far worse, there was absolutely nothing he could do about it.
Finlay! Let me buy you a drink to thank you for getting me out of that hospital.
You shouldn't be drinking alcohol yet.
Nonsense, I'm fine. Can I get you something?
Yes, I think you can. I'll have a whiskey, thank you.
Finlay was having a hard lesson to learn. He wasn't, after all, God. The whiskey was followed very rapidly by another. And another.
You know something, old man?
How's that?
You're much too hard on her.
Who's that?
Peggy, of course. Peggy Angus.
Ugh.
She's a soft spot for you, you know.
Nonsense.
Take it from someone who knows about these things. Man of the world. And she's a damn fine nut.
Aye, well, I know that well enough.
Then let her know.
Aye. Yeah, I might just do that. Yeah, just might.
Ned, would you mind very much if I didn't come to the march tomorrow?
What are you talking about? Mind? Of course I mind.
I'll listen on the wireless.
But it's not going to be the same. You've come to every match I've ever played.
It's just, I think I'm coming down with something.
You've not been yourself for weeks. What's the matter with you?
Nothing at all. I just need to rest and I'll be fine.
Dr. Finlay?
You are looking very pretty.
You are really, really drunk.
No, I am not.
Why don't you go home now?
Well, you know something, Peggy Angus?
I know all sorts of things.
You know life is unfair.
Yes, I think I do.
Well, and you're a clever lass. You're a bonny and a clever lass.
Sit down, Doctor, or you'll fall down.
Why? Tell me this if you can. You tell me why a good woman who's done no one any harm at all, should be dying, and there's absolutely nothing that I can do for her.
It happens, Doctor.
Aye, well, it shouldn't.
I know.
She came into the surgery hoping I'd tell her baby was just fine, and I did, but I just had to interfere. I had to know best.
What are you talking about?
I looked into her eye, and I saw death. She'll be dead in a week. I saw death.
I'm so sorry.
So am I.
Why did you come all this way to talk to me?
Because I had to, Peggy. I needed to see you. I needed...
You wait here. I'll telephone Dr. Cameron to come and fetch you.
Would you, Peggy? Would you do that? Because I think that I'm going to be very, very sick.
Would you like another coffee, Doctor?
Please.
Black?
Very black and very strong.
Well, Janet, a great day's here.
It is indeed.
Oh, could you turn that telephone down?
You should have a proper breakfast.
Oh, God, the woman's a sadist.
What were you doing up at the nurse's home anyway?
Nurse's home?
Don't you remember?
Last thing I remember about last night was downing one too many whiskies at the Cross Keys.
That was Mrs. Paxton. Her husband's been taken very poorly.
You are right, Doctor. It's appendicitis. I should have seen that.
It's hard enough to diagnose, and when the patient doesn't want you to know.
It looks like I've managed to kill 2 patients in less than a week.
Stop feeling sorry for yourself, man. You've not killed either of them. But if you don't operate, Paxton's going to die.
I can't operate. We'll get a surgeon up from Glasgow.
Far too late for that. It's perforated, probably gangrenous.
I've only ever assisted. I've never actually performed an appendectomy myself.
Neither have I, and I'm far too old to start now.
But if he dies...
He's certainly going to die if we just leave him.
Will you assist?
I'd be pleased to, and Peggy can help. Be good experience for us both.
Well, Paxton won't thank us, you know, for making him miss his precious football match.
Leavenford United!
At last the great day has arrived, and here comes the famous former Newcastle star Ned Sutherland, leading his lowly team onto this small 11-foot pitch. It really is a glorious sight, the stands packed with supporters, flags and scarves waving. And now the Rangers in their bright blue jerseys are taking to the field. The crowd is hushed. The referee tosses the coin. It hangs in the misty air for a moment and falls. Leavenford have won the toss.
Go on, Ned. Do us proud.
It's kicked off. The ball is passed swiftly up the field by Grant of Glasgow Rangers on the wing to the tall outside left, Stevenson.
Can you see all right, nurse?
I can.
You ready, Dr. Cameron?
Slice away, Finlay.
Aye. Well, I'm going to make a short incision through the skin and fat, and there's a lot of fat.
Foul, ref! Didn't you see it, ref? Foul! Oh.
And Meiklejohn has the ball. He's running up the pitch. He swerves past 1, 2 men, and he shoots. Oh, I say, a beautiful save by Leavenford's small but agile goalkeeper Mackenzie.
Now I'm going to separate the muscles of the wall and reveal the peritoneum. To the forceps, nurse.
Doctor?
Dr. Cameron, can you just make sure there's no bleeding? That's it. Now, I'm going to cut and move aside the small intestine. And there it is.
It's in a bad state by the looks of it.
Aye, we'll need to drain it.
The tubes, Doctor?
Thank you. It's going to be tricky.
That's what makes it fun.
Yeah, speak for yourself, Doctor.
Meiklejohn has the ball for the
Come
Rangers.
on, Ned. Come on, Ned.
Right back. Oh, my, what? That's a terrible mistake by the right back. And it's a goal. Glasgow Rangers have scored.
Ned, oh, my poor Ned. Hush, my love. Your mummy's going to have to lie down. You'll both have a nice, long sleep.
Come on, Leavenford United! They've got to score now.
We're well into the second half now, and Glasgow Rangers remain 1-0 ahead after Meiklejohn's goal in the 38th minute. Can Leavenford United stage an improbable comeback?
Almost there. Just tie off the appendix. Would you like to cut it, Dr. Cameron?
Oh, no, man, no. It's your operation.
Knife, nurse. And there it is, in all its pus-filled glory. Do you think we should keep it for Paxton to take home?
He'd like that.
No, would he? Well, you know him better than I do.
I'll go and get the sterilised bottle.
Have I said the wrong thing again?
It's just a talent you have.
Aye, well, better close him up, I suppose.
Ned Sutherland has the ball. He's past one man and another, and he's in the penalty area with only one man between himself and the goal. Can he do it? No! He's been brought down. He's writhing in agony on the ground. I do hope the injury isn't too serious, but surely that must be a penalty kick.
Penalty!
Now,
penalty!
what's the referee's decision?
Penalty!
Yes, a penalty kick. He places the ball on the penalty spot. The crowd is hushed. This may well be the last kick of the match. He steps up, he runs forward, and it's a goal! It's a goal! He's done it! Ned Sutherland has scored for Leavenford. I'll wager this is one of the most memorable days of his entire life.
Can I leave you to wheel him back to his room?
Of course, Finlay.
And will you send for me when he wakes up?
Don't worry about Paxton. You go and see how Jenny is.
Jenny! Jenny, my love! Did you hear it? I was here, Jenny! Jenny?
Where have you been, Sutherland?
Been celebrating, of course!
I've been waiting for you for hours.
You sound just like Jenny. Where is she? Where's my beloved?
Sit down, man. I've something to tell you.
Why the long face, Doctor? MD think we'd lost.
Ned Sutherland never kicked a football again. His heart wasn't in it. And Leavenford lost 4-0 to the Rangers in the replay. Our glorious hour was over.
Do you ever get used to it, Dr. Cameron?
Losing a patient?
Aye.
I suppose you have to. But it's not something I'd make a habit of if I were you, Finlay.
Aye.
The Sisters Scobie.
The trouble with Finlay was he thought himself a keen judge of character, and sometimes it caused him to bite off a deal more than he could chew. Of course, anyone would have found Annabel and Beth Scobie a mite indigestible.
There's a note, Doctor, from Beth Scobie.
Scobie?
But whatever the cause, most folk were agreed on one thing. Nothing on this earth would heal the rift between the two sisters.
Isn't she the eccentric old biddy who lives with her sister up near the estuary?
She is.
Most folk agreed, but not Dr. Finlay.
Aye, I've heard of them. Didn't they have a falling out some time back?
They did.
But they still live together?
Aye.
Well, they obviously get along well enough now.
You might say that in their way.
Ugh, just tell me, Janet. You know you're longing to.
Now, Doctor, normally I wouldn't tell you a thing about them. I'm not a gossip, as you well know. But you should be prepared if you're to visit the Scobie sisters.
Well, that sounds ominous.
Beth and Annabel Scobie haven't spoken to one another since they quarrelled. They haven't spoken, as far as anyone knows, for 15 years.
Not a word in 15 years?
Not one word.
Well, we'll see about that. I'm not putting up with any sort of nonsense from them.
Oh yes, Finlay has a fine conceit about him sometimes.
Doctor, thank you for coming. My sister isn't quite ready for you yet.
Is it Annabel who's ill?
Oh, so she thinks. It's no more than a cold, I'm sure. But she made such a fuss to see you, I said I'd send a message up to Arden House.
She asked you to call me in?
Oh, she did.
So you've spoken?
I beg your pardon?
I'm sorry, there was just a foolish story that you and your sister never spoke to one another.
We most certainly don't. I'm sure Annabel's ready for you now, Doctor. And if she's not, well, that's too bad. I've got things to do. I'll show you up to her room.
Doctor, it's good of you to come all this way just to see me. I'm sorry to put you to such trouble.
It's no trouble, Miss Scobie. Let's just see what the matter is.
I'm sure you'd like a cup of tea.
Yes, thank you.
Could you pass me that writing paper, do you think?
There you are.
Thank you, Doctor. Would you give my sister this note, please, Doctor?
I beg your pardon?
If you'd be kind enough.
All right. Miss Scobie, a note from Miss Scobie.
Thank you, Doctor. A cup of tea? You only had to ask, Doctor.
4 sugars, please. Well, let's take a look at you, Miss Scobie. I'll just have a wee listen to your chest. Breathe in. That's it, and another deep breath. You don't look right. Let me see what your temperature is. Now, are you keeping your food down?
Oh, I haven't been able to bear the thought of food since Tuesday.
Your pulse is raised.
Is that serious?
No, it just tells me you've an infection of some kind.
I brought 2 cups, Doctor. My sister will probably want some tea as well.
Well, perhaps you could ask her.
I'll be downstairs if you need me.
Aye, well, I won't be long now. Well, Miss Scobie, let's see what your temperature is.
Is it very high?
102. It's high enough. I think you have influenza. There's a bit of an epidemic about just now.
Is it serious?
Yeah, well, it's sharp enough while it lasts.
I told my sister I was ill.
Oh, you told her?
I did.
You mean you wrote her a note?
Of course. How else would I tell her?
Miss Scobie, you're going to need looking after for the next week or so.
I'm sure I am.
I think I'd better get you a nurse.
You'll do no such thing. We won't be put to that expense. Beth will look after me. Though she'll make a poor enough nurse, no doubt. But I'll just have to put up with that. She's stubborn, you know, Doctor. Stubborn and quarrelsome.
How can you quarrel without... never mind. I'll go down now and have a word with your sister.
Would you give her this note, please?
Aye, all right. Your sister has influenza.
Is that all? Annabelle always was one to feel sorry for herself.
Miss Scobie, your sister is ill, and she'll be worse before she's better. Much worse. It's the pulmonary type of influenza she's got. She'll want a lot of looking after. Will you be able to manage?
I'm perfectly able to look after Annabelle, Doctor. Though she'll make a poor enough patient. She's stubborn to a fault and so quarrelsome. You've no idea what I'll have to put up with.
I think I have a fair idea of what you'll both have to put up with. Oh, your sister gave this note for you.
Oh, thank you. Well, was the tea too strong for you?
No, it was fine. Very nice.
She says it was so mashed you could stand your spoon in it. You see what she's like.
Aye, well, I'll call by first thing in the morning. See how your sister's getting on. I thought it wouldn't be possible to live in the same house for 15 years without any communication at all.
So they do talk?
In their way. They pass notes to each other. I'm not putting up with this nonsense.
You may have to.
Oh, no. I know, if I can just find out what caused the quarrel in the first place, I'll have them talking to each other before the week is out.
Oh, yes. Finlay fancied himself a great student of human nature. It's a pity he didn't understand his own nature better.
I'll not put up with it for much longer, Cameron.
Give them time, Angus. They're young yet.
You don't know what it's like. When she's off duty, all Peggy does is moon about the house. She can't settle to anything. She just goes on and on about some terrible injustice Finlay visited on her that day.
Finlay's just the same. Nurse Angus did this, Nurse Angus didn't do that.
Well, can't he see he's in love with my daughter?
Not yet. But then he's very stubborn.
As stubborn as Peggy.
They'll come round to each other in time.
Well, it may be too late soon. Peggy's got an interview next week at the Royal, just after the fete. They want her back down in Edinburgh. If something's to be done, it has to be done quickly.
Mr. Angus.
Dr. Finlay.
Am I interrupting?
Not at all, man. Angus is here to discuss the fete he's holding up at Dunhill.
Aye, that's right. Will you be going, Finlay?
I don't think I'll have the time.
Oh, that's a pity. I know Peggy was hoping to see you there.
Was she? I can't think why. I'm off out to the Scobies, Doctor.
Is Annabelle no better?
I think she's on the mend, but it's a slow business. Good day to you, Mr. Angus.
Good morning. Well, I think I put my foot in it there.
Aye, Angus. Both feet. And in size 10 boots.
Oh, Rufus, don't leave me. Don't leave me all alone with her, Rufus.
So there was a man in it. Miss Scobie. Annabelle. Wake up now.
Oh, Doctor. I'm sorry, my sister didn't tell me you were coming.
I just dropped by to see how you were.
Oh, I'm feeling very poorly.
Have you been taking your medicine?
I have, when my sister remembers to bring it me.
Well, your pulse is steadier. I think we'll have you up and about in no time.
Oh, Doctor, I wish my sister was as good to me as you are.
She won't touch my gruel, Doctor.
It's likely she hasn't much of an appetite, but you should try and make her take some nourishment.
I've tried. The Lord knows how I've tried. Look, it's down here in black and white. See? You must have some gruel, I told her. No. That's all she wrote. No.
And I see you told her to go to the devil.
Can you blame me?
Your sister is very ill. You must be patient with her.
I have the patience of a saint.
The fever's making Annabelle delirious. Don't be frightened by that.
Frightened? What you mean is my sister's talking nonsense. Well, that's nothing new.
She seems to be fretting about something. Rufus.
How do you know about Rufus?
Well, I don't. Your sister called out his name in her sleep.
Did she now? Well, that would be her guilty conscience, no doubt.
She seemed very anxious.
So she should. It was entirely her fault that Rufus went away.
Would he be the reason for your quarrel?
Has she talked to you about him?
No.
Because if she tried to blame me for his leaving...
No, your sister said nothing.
I suppose I should tell you what really happened before she comes out with her lies.
Well, there's no need.
You see, Rufus loved me more than he loved Annabelle, and she could never bear that. Rufy, she called him. Can you imagine? I know he hated it. I always called him Rufus. Rufus, I'd call every other evening before bed. Rufus, come home. She'd say, Rufy, here, Rufy, here, Puss. She called him Puss.
Rufus was your cat.
Did you think he was a dog? We'd had Rufus since he was a kitten. That's what made it so hard to bear when he didn't come home. And it was all Annabelle's fault. She said it was my turn to call him, but it wasn't. I'd called him the night before. I remember it distinctly.
So neither of you actually called him in?
It was her turn. It was her fault he never came back. I never saw my dear Rufus again. You think I can ever forgive her for that?
15 years of silence over a cat!
It's hard to credit.
I'm not surprised.
Are you not?
People quarrel over the most trivial things if it's in their nature.
They're so stubborn. I could have knocked their two heads together.
I can think of two other people I'd like to do that to.
Do I know them?
No, Doctor. I don't think you know them at all.
Well, I'm away to the hospital.
Say good day to Peggy Angus if you see her.
Why Nurse Angus in particular?
No special reason, Finlay.
There are any number of nurses at the hospital I could say good day to. Anyway, she's off duty today. Well, that's as far as I know.
Off you go, Finlay.
I'll be back for my tea, Janet.
Aye, Doctor. If no one else tells him, I will myself, Dr. Cameron.
Tell him what?
That he loves her, of course. And she, I've no doubt at all, loves him.
You know then?
Of course I know. There are only two people in the whole of Leavenford who don't seem to know.
I think we should have another marquee, Father, near the beer tent, in case it rains.
What about the expense?
It won't bankrupt you, will it?
Well, I don't suppose so. And we don't want you getting wet and catching a chill. Not for your interview the next day.
That's just what I was thinking. Entirely selfish, you see.
I bumped into Dr. Finlay yesterday.
That's an interesting train of thought. I call myself selfish, and you think of Dr. Finlay.
Now, Peggy...
Oh, no, I know what he thinks of me, Father. So where did you have the pleasure, if that's the right word, to bump into the almighty doctor?
Well, I was up at Arden House. Cameron's going to give us a talk at the fete on his porcelain collection. I asked Finlay if he was going to pay a visit to the fete.
And is he?
He may not have the time.
Of course he won't have the time. He's a dedicated doctor. He's no time to enjoy himself at something as frivolous as a summer fete. Not like me. No, I'm just a spoilt little rich girl. No one could possibly be as committed as Dr. Finlay. I really can't stand the man.
No.
Hot. It's so hot. I'm too cold. More blankets. Don't take all my blankets.
Hot, cold? Oh, make up your mind. If you want more blankets, all you have to do is ask. But you won't ask, will you? You're so pig-headed. You always have been. I've always been the one to give in. Well, I won't this time.
Beth?
What?
I'm that thirsty, Beth. Would you please fetch me a drink?
Annabelle?
Oh, my mouth's so dry. Have you a glass of water?
Yes, of course, dearest. I'll pour you some.
Oh,
there you are. Now let me help you. Drink that up.
Oh, Beth, I'm so sorry.
No, Annabelle, I'm sorry. Drink as much as you can. You need it.
It's been all my fault. All these years over nothing.
Don't take on so.
I keep seeing Rufus. I can touch him, stroke him. Oh, maybe it was my turn to call him in.
No, my dear. I'm thinking it was mine.
No, really, I'm sure it was my turn.
Well, never mind. We're speaking now, and that's all that matters.
Oh, Beth, my chest hurts so.
Or should I send for Dr. Finlay?
I think maybe you should.
I couldn't bear to lose her, Doctor.
Aye, well, I hope you won't.
Hope? Is it no more certain than that?
I'm afraid she's developed pneumonia. She's very seriously ill.
But she has to get well, Doctor. You don't understand. We've made it up. This afternoon she spoke to me. 15 years without a word, and she asked me for a glass of water. Oh, if I lost my dear sister now, it would be too cruel.
Aye. Then we must save her.
It wouldn't be easy. Finlay knew that, but he saw how it could be. It would quite restore his faith in human nature.
What can I do, Doctor? I'll do anything I have to.
It'll be hard on you.
Do you think I mind that?
Annabelle was tough. The strength, the stubbornness that had served her well over 15 years of silence served her well now while she fought the infection. During those difficult days, Finlay despaired of saving her. Sometimes he even feared for Beth.
You're exhausted.
I'll be fine.
You must have some help with your sister. I'll arrange for a nurse to come in.
No, I can take care of Annabelle.
Just for tonight, so that you can get some sleep.
Oh, all right. But just for tonight, you understand?
There's not a spare nurse to be found. I've rung everywhere I can think of.
It's the epidemic.
Beth Scobie must have some help or she'll collapse, and then I'll have the both of them in my hands.
I'll tell you what, I'm up at the hospital this afternoon. I'll see if I can find a volunteer for you.
I'd be grateful, Dr. Cameron.
You look all in yourself, man. Get some rest.
I think I will.
Well, of course, Dr. Cameron, if you need me.
I do.
It's just for tonight.
Aye.
Only there's the fete tomorrow, and I've promised my father I'll be there to help him. And then I have to catch the early train to Edinburgh the next morning for my interview at the Royal.
Yes, I heard you might be leaving us. I'll be sorry to lose you.
Oh, do tell Matron that.
You are appreciated, you know, Peggy, by all of us.
Please, Doctor, you're making me blush.
She seems very restless, Doctor.
Yes, I think the next 2 days will be crucial. That'll be the nurse. I'll let her in. If you want to stay with your sister.
Oh, I do, Doctor, I do.
Nurse Angus.
Dr. Finlay. Is Dr. Cameron not here?
No, why should he be? Well, come in. We've little enough time to waste and have a great many instructions for you.
Oh, I'm sure you have.
Now, nurse, I think there's still a danger of secondary pneumonia. You know the signs to look out for.
I do, Doctor.
And whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
Of course I won't.
No, I know you won't. If there's any deterioration at all in Annabelle's condition, you're to telephone Arden House at once. Do you understand me?
I do, Doctor.
I don't want you thinking you can cope on your own.
No, I'd never think that.
All right. Well, I'll leave you to it.
All right, Doctor?
Aye. And don't disturb Miss Scobie unless you really have to. Yeah. Well, good night to you.
Good night. Don't disturb Miss Scobie. Oh, yes, Dr. Finlay. I was going to wake her up and make her dance a jig.
They were like two magnets pushing each other away, and there seemed no end to it. Of course, things might have gone on the same forever between Finlay and Peggy if Janet hadn't been woken by the telephone from a particularly happy dream about the Isle of Arran. She wasn't in a good mood at all.
Doctor. Dr. Finlay, wake up!
What is it, Janet? What's the time?
It's 3 a.m. There's been a call from Peggy Angus.
Yes.
She says you should come. She's worried about Annabel Scobie.
Right. I knew she wouldn't be able to cope on her own.
You know well fine she can cope, Doctor. It's time all this nonsense between you and Peggy Angus was put a stop to.
What are you talking about? Here, hand me my shirt, would you?
We've all had to put up with it for far too long.
Janet, I really don't know what you mean. And I don't have time
Everyone
to...
can see how you feel about the girl. Everyone but you.
What?
You're besotted, Dr. Finlay.
Don't be absurd.
And if her father's to be believed, she feels the same way about you.
What?
You're putting your shoe in the wrong foot.
I know just what Peggy Angus thinks of me, Janet. And there's no fondness involved.
You're a fool, Doctor, if you can't see it. Now, I'm away back to my bed.
Peggy Angus fond of me.
I think she's through the worst, Doctor.
Aye, I think you're right.
Is she going to get better?
I'm
well,
sure
it looks
she-
like...
I'm sorry, Doctor.
That's all right. I think we were probably going to say the same thing. She's on the mend, but I'd like you to stay with her tonight, Nurse Angus, as well, just to be sure.
Tonight?
Aye, can you do that?
It's just that there's the fete today, and then...
Oh, the fete. Aye, well, you mustn't miss that.
Well, it's not... Yes, Doctor, I can stay with her tonight.
I thought I might try that coconut shy, Doctor.
Well, I hope you have better luck than you did with the darts.
I'm sure they weren't straight.
Cameron! And hello there, Miss Macpherson. Are you enjoying yourself?
We are.
Finlay not with you?
No, he's on call. I've not seen Peggy about. She's not off to Edinburgh today.
No. First thing in the morning. Oh, I tell you this. I'm going to miss her.
You won't be the only one.
Well, Miss Scobie, I think you'll do it.
Am I going to get better, Doctor?
Now you are. With some good food inside you.
I'll cook you whatever you want.
Oh, I could eat a horse.
I've not got a horse in the larder, but maybe some sausages instead.
I think so.
What time is it, Doctor?
It's just past 6 o'clock. You look all in. Why do you have a wee lie down next door?
Aye, maybe I will. Just for half an hour. You will wake me before 7, won't you?
Oh, well, I'll be away back to Arden House by then, but I'll tell Miss Scobie. And Peggy.
Doctor?
You've done a fine job.
Thank you.
Dr. Finlay, would you and Nurse Angus have some breakfast with us?
I can't. And Nurse Angus is going to have a wee sleep in your bedroom, if that's all right. Wake her... no, well, just let her sleep through, actually. Poor girl needs as much rest as she can get.
11 o'clock?
Just past.
Oh, it can't be.
This clock keeps good time.
Oh, I told Dr. Finlay I had to be walking before 7.
He told me to let you sleep. He was really concerned about you. I could see that. You've got a fine man there.
What on earth do you mean?
Well, it's as plain as day.
It's a grand fete yesterday, Finlay. John Angus did as proud as always.
Aye. It's a pity we'll have to eat our way through 3 coconuts.
Janet did get a bit carried away. I wonder how Peggy's getting on.
I hope she's still asleep.
I certainly hope she's not.
Well, what do you mean?
Well, her interview starts in... No, it'll have started by now.
What interview? What are you talking about?
Didn't she mention it to you? Interview for a ward sister down in Edinburgh. Angus was worried sick because you'd kept her up all night beforehand. But she insisted.
Oh, my God.
What on earth's the matter?
It can't be helped, Father.
But you had your heart set on that job.
There'll be others. And maybe I want to stay in Leavenford for a while after all.
You were so determined to leave. What's changed your mind?
Oh, nothing really, Father. It was just something Beth Scobie said. Something really silly, I'm sure, but...
Peggy! Oh, I'm so sorry. Why didn't you tell me you had a train to catch?
You didn't ask.
I'll never forgive myself.
I shouldn't have gone to sleep.
Well, you wouldn't have had to if you hadn't been up all night.
Good morning to you, Finlay.
Mr. Angus.
I'll leave you two young people alone.
Well, Peggy, you've certainly proved to me how dedicated you are to nursing.
Why should I have to prove it to you?
Or maybe I won't.
I didn't mean...
No, I know, I'm sorry.
No, I'm the one who should be sorry.
Or maybe I will.
We must send some raspberries to Dr. Finlay to thank him for getting you better, my dear.
Aye, we must. Though I don't think it was just the doctor who saved me.
You don't?
No. It was you, my dear.
Oh, Annabelle, I only did what any loving sister would do.
What gave me the will to fight was you speaking to me like you did.
Only because you spoke to me first, Annabelle, dear.
Oh, no. It was you who came to my bedside and told me it was all your fault, losing Rufus.
It most certainly was not. You asked me for a drink.
I did not.
You did. You spoke first.
Oh, no. You spoke first.
I did not.
You did.
I did not.
You did.
I did not.
You did.
Well, Finlay, it's a wonderful thing.
What's that, Doctor?
Just that the reconciliation of the Scobie sisters should bring you and Peggy together at last.
We're only going to the pictures tonight.
Of course. But it's a start.
Aye, as long as I don't say the wrong thing again.
You won't. Come on, man. If the Scobies can patch things up, anything can happen.
Dr. Finlay, Annabelle Scobie has sent round a punnet of raspberries as a thank you.
Yeah, that's nice of them. I told you, Dr. Cameron, they're a pleasant enough pair of sisters once you get to know them.
Oh, no, Doctor. Annabelle Scobie sent a note with the raspberries. They're from her and her alone to thank you, and she underlined this, you alone, for saving her life.
Raspberries. There's nothing like fresh raspberries, Finlay, so long as they're not too sour.